Welcome to our new video dedicated to spirituality and the search for meaning in life. I'm excited to share this journey of exploration and reflection with you. Before we begin, I invite you to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any other videos that could enrich your spiritual journey. And don't forget to leave a like. It means a lot to us. Thank you for being here with us. And now, without further ado, let's dive together into this experience of discovery and inner growth. Enjoy watching. Pontius Pilate is a figure scarcely mentioned in the sacred scriptures. However, his presence has left a bloody mark on biblical events, most notably known for the episode of Jesus' trial, where he made a symbolic gesture of washing his hands in an attempt to evade the decision that would mark the unjust crucifixion of the Messiah. In this video, we will explore the life and death of Pontius Pilate, how he rose to power, and the motivations behind the symbolic act of washing his hands. In the 1st century, the Roman Empire dominated vast regions of the known world, including Judea, a province strategically vital to the Romans due to its geographical location and the resources it offered. Pontius Pilate, a prominent figure in historical documents and the sacred scriptures, had his origins in Roman high society. Little is known about his life before his appointment as governor of Judea. His rise to power occurred in a complex political and social context around 26 AD, when he was appointed prefect of Judea. During his rule, Pilate faced significant challenges, especially regarding the cultural and religious differences between the Jews and Roman rule. His administration was marked by notable episodes, such as the trial and crucifixion of Jesus Christ. It all begins in the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus is betrayed by Judas Iscariot and arrested by Jewish authorities. He is brought before the high priest Caiaphas, where he faces false charges of blasphemy. Subsequently, he is brought into the presence of Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea. The Jewish authorities bring Jesus to Pilate for judgment and authorization of his crucifixion. Pilate realizes that the accusations against Jesus are motivated more by envy and rivalry than by true crimes. He then interrogates Jesus, seeking to understand his nature and the accusations. Meanwhile, the crowd, incited by religious leaders, cries out for his crucifixion. Pilate, seemingly aware of Jesus' innocence, offers the opportunity to release him, suggesting the tradition of releasing a prisoner during the Jewish Passover. As reported in the Gospels, it was an annual tradition during the time of the Jewish Passover to offer the opportunity to release a prisoner. So the crowd was offered the choice to release Jesus or Barabbas, a notorious criminal prisoner. However, the choice offered by Pilate led to a surprising turn of events. The crowd, influenced by religious leaders, demanded the release of Barabbas instead of Jesus. This choice is deeply symbolic in Christian theology. While Jesus represented the message of love, forgiveness, and redemption, Barabbas was a common criminal. The crowd's preference for Barabbas over Jesus highlights the irony and tragedy of the situation. The political and religious tensions of the time and the narrative of the episode of the choice between Jesus and Barabbas serve as an impactful moment in Christian history, emphasizing the conflict between the people's messianic expectations and Jesus' redemptive mission. This passage not only illustrates the depravity of human nature, but also indicates Jesus' sacrifice in fulfilling a higher purpose. During Jesus' trial, Pilate found himself facing a complex decision. In the Synoptic Gospels, he is depicted as someone who acknowledges Jesus' innocence by symbolically washing his hands to absolve himself of the responsibility for the crucifixion. In contrast, the Gospel of John presents a longer and more complex interaction between Pilate and Jesus, highlighting dialogue about the spiritual kingdom. The differences in the Gospel interpretations of Pilate's personality are evident, with some accounts suggesting a reluctant and somewhat sympathetic Pilate toward Jesus, while others emphasize his political and pragmatic stance in the face of pressure from religious leadership and the crowd. After the trial, Jesus is taken to Calvary, where he is crucified between two criminals. During the crucifixion, Pilate orders the inscription on the cross, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." As Jesus agonizes on the cross, Pilate witnesses the events, and his inscription on the cross becomes a symbol of the fulfillment of messianic prophecies. Pilate's symbolic act of washing his hands before the crowd during Jesus' trial becomes an image in biblical narrative, symbolizing his attempt to absolve himself of the decision to crucify Jesus. This scene highlights Pilate's internal struggle between his recognition of Jesus' innocence and the political pressure exerted by religious leaders and the crowd. By washing his hands, Pilate sought to distance himself from the verdict that nevertheless remained marked by his authority. The consequences for Pilate were tragic. Although he yielded to popular will and allowed the crucifixion of Jesus to maintain political stability, his involvement in this event had significantly negative repercussions. According to some historical accounts, after the crucifixion, Pilate faced difficulties in maintaining order and addressing growing dissatisfaction among the Jews. In response to Pilate's inability to adequately contain the riots and maintain stability in the region, he was eventually removed from his office as prefect of Judea in the year 36 AD. The Bible does not provide information about the end of this historical figure's life. In some writings, such as the book Mors Pilati, it is said that Pontius Pilate was called to Rome due to complaints from the Samaritans. Upon learning of the summons, to avoid further reprisals, he committed suicide. Other historians argue that Pontius Pilate was executed during the reign of Nero. According to the book, The Tradition of Pilate, a curious fact is that in 1961 a group of researchers, led by Dr. Antonio Frova, made a remarkable discovery in Caesarea Maritima, an ancient Roman city on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea in Israel. The finding was a limestone fragment, a plate 82 cm wide and 68 cm high. On the plaque, a Latin inscription read, "Pontius Pilate, prefect of Judea, dedicated to the people of Caesarea a temple in honor of Tiberius Caesar." Luke in his Gospel identifies Pilate as the Roman governor of Judea during the reign of Tiberius Caesar, thus confirming a significant correspondence between archaeological findings and biblical narratives. The final reflection brings us to the profound wisdom present in the words of Jesus, especially those recorded in the Gospel of Matthew. He mentions the duality between light and darkness. In Matthew 6, verses 22 and 23, Jesus states, "The lamp of the body is the eye. Therefore, if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is the darkness?" The metaphor of the lamp and the eyes invites us to reflect on the quality of our perception and discernment. Light represents truth, wisdom, and clarity, while darkness symbolizes ignorance, confusion, and error. Just as the eyes are the lamp of the body, our choices and how we perceive the world around us shape our journey. Observing Pontius Pilate's trajectory, we see the consequences of choices made in the darkness of political pressure, moral indecision, and deviation from truth. His fall from power and dark fate are vivid illustrations of how decisions guided by darkness lead to tragic outcomes. The lesson for us today is to recognize the importance of keeping our eyes, that is, our perception and discernment, full of light. This entails seeking truth, acting with wisdom, and making choices aligned with ethical principles. By doing so, we shape our destiny in a way that reflects true light, illuminating not only our path, but also positively impacting those around us.